Good morning, Hallowed Haven family. This is After Dawn, the show where we sit down to have a cup of coffee with the cast, crew, and creators behind the Hallowed Haven Studios productions. I'm Sol, and I'm joined by my co-host, Cyan.
Yes, hello, I'm Cyan, and today we're talking about Chill, The Office, Episode 2, Coffee.
Coffee
Run, yeah. This episode was about the gang kind of investigating the strange intern, finding out that there may be, or may not be, a coffee shop that's definitely not in a broom closet, and investigating more about, I guess memory. Honestly, I thought the episode was real fun and entertaining. Another one of those moments where everyone in the game kind of had to do a double take and say, "Hey, there's more monsters here than I thought." But my opinion is not the only one here. What are your thoughts, Saul?
I really liked it. I had my suspicions when the moment that everyone couldn't immediately say what the intern's name was in the first episode. So it was good to see those be actualized. And I personally always love a good memory mystery, especially when it comes to the unknown and like eldritch sorts of entities that can affect those sorts of things. But mine is also not the only opinion. Today we're joined by a couple of our wonderful players, Gary and Termite. Hello.
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 Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show. It is good to have both of you back, albeit odd to have you here at the same time after what happened in the last season of this show.
I have no clue what you're talking about. Gary and I
sure
always get along, especially in
We're
games.
friends. We're such good friends. Definitely doesn't terrorize me.
No, never.
She would never do that.
I would never do such a thing.
Well, I for one believe you, 100%.
I'm pressing X to doubt. But anyway, we are excited to have you here, especially in kicking off the new show. How do you both think the show is going so far? It's a little bit different from most of the games we play on Hallowed Haven Studios, at least tone-wise.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's very different tone, and I for one have really enjoyed the kind of like change in flavor, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The shift in tone definitely, I think helps, especially kind of help us branch out to new audiences even. Because not everybody's going to be into the dark, gritty, everything is terrible. So, sometimes trying something new is fun, and so far I've had a great time.
I don't know what you mean. I love existential dread.
Oh, I do too, but not everybody's into
in The Office.
Yeah, but this time it's more mundane existential dread.
Yeah. It's the type of existential dread that everyone who works in 9 to 5 completely understands.
Yeah, it's a little too home for me. So, Gary, tell us a little bit about what it's like to play as Alfred. He's quite a bit different from the last time we saw you playing as Oliver.
Yes, it was like a full 180, you could say, and for me, that's very fun. Getting to get to do things differently. Where formerly as like characters as Oliver, I had to handle things a certain way. Like I couldn't always say exactly what I wanted to because that's not what Oliver would do. Meanwhile, with Alfred, I can just cuss up a storm. I can be cranky. I can do all these other things. But then it also has the same situation with Alfred, where it's like there's some things I want to say, but I can't because Alfred wouldn't say it. But it's very different to have like a very completely separate identity to get to play around with, who's vastly different.
Termite, kind of in that same area, could you tell us a little bit more about Amy? Like, what were your plans going into this as kind of the systems analyst with all your spooky telepathic powers?
So I'm going to be honest, my main goal going into this was to have Amy just be very blunt with things. Especially just having the driest sense of humor, of just being like, okay, sure, yeah, that's kind of how things are. Or just like looking people in the eyes and explaining, yeah, that happened. You're welcome. Because it's always fun to be able to kind of politely tell people to go fuck themselves.
Amy kind of gives off a vibe of someone who would definitely say, I don't know, I just work here, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they don't pay me enough to care about that.
That very much
I
would have
love
been
it.
the situation with the copier in the first episode, except she really, really needed it.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck, man? Why is there dirt here? I'm not fucking around with this.
You know what? I don't care.
I don't care. If I
Oh,
didn't
welcome
have to
back to
care, I
that.
wouldn't care.
That is a whole mood. Here's a question for both of you. Do you guys have any special rituals that you do to get into character when you go into game, and like especially for new games? I know it's been a while since y'all have played this, but like what kind of stuff do you do to get back into that mindset?
Hmm. This game is a bit different, so it's definitely like a different ritual. Last time with Apotheosis, I just kind of like turned on the Oliver playlist and sort of just vibed out and got that general feeling. But this time, um, it's a bit different. So what I really do is just like I kind of think to myself, okay, at his core, Alfred is a cranky old man. So what do I gotta do just to feel as old as possible? So I'll like be like, okay, where's some like hard candy I can suck on? Where's like a newspaper I can read? Things like that.
Go to the skate park and be like, these damn kids and their
Yeah,
skateboards.
just complain about things.
Go yell at people to get off your lawn.
Yeah, you need to wear like a bathrobe and just be like, get off my lawn.
Basically what I do.
I'll be honest, I don't really have a whole lot of a ritual for getting into character for Amy. I'm very much just kind of winging it, and I think that feels fitting for the character. Just kind of guessing at things and just going with whatever sticks.
All right, that's very, very improvisational. I can respect that.
Yeah, I especially think it works for the character who's just kind of having to take the day one blow to their psyche at a time.
She's so tired.
Yeah, she needs to
Not
get
as
some
tired as
sleep.
Alfred, but she's really tired.
Alfred's eternally exhausted with everything. The weekend is the only thing he looks forward to in life.
Except
After
for when the
work.
Johns ask you for overtime.
He would never do it. He'd find a reason.
After work time is nap time.
Yep.
So I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but for the most part, HHS sort of strives on horror-themed games, especially White Wolf games. What's it like playing a game that, while mechanically is horror-themed, seems a lot more comedic and, ironically, chill?
Badum-tis.
Mm.
Well, I will say, as kind of got to be experienced in the last episode, there is a lot more going on behind the scenes. So I think as time goes on, the horror themes are going to start coming out, being more obvious. But honestly, having a chill, literally a chill game, especially like Friday evenings, I think it's real fun. And as I mentioned before, it helps us explore an avenue that we haven't really explored before with the, more horror focused games we've had in the past.
For me, it's a mechanics thing where it's hard for me to switch gears. Like whenever Scott asks us for a roll, I'm always like, all right, how many D10 am I rolling? Oh, right, none. So that's where I'm at.
I mean, theoretically, too.
Yeah, I suppose.
Also, fun drinking game idea. Take a shot every time we say chill without referring to the game.
No,
Don't do that. Do not do that.
you would die of alcohol poisoning.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Your
that's a
liver
bad
will
idea.
thank me later.
So, for both of you, would you say you prefer chill as a system about monster hunting and horror, as was kind of experienced in the one shot, or chill as it is now, where it's like a lot more relaxed, a little more hijinks, messing around, however horrible they may be around the office?
I think both have their merits for sure. Like I really like how both things have gone, especially like with us just kind of like getting up to different schemes and just goofy moments and things like that. But I also like the system as like it's intended, where it's like very interesting, kind of like monster hunting type of adventure you can go on, and how it differs from other things like Hunter and stuff like that. So I think they're both very cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely inclined to agree. They've both got, in a lot of ways, they both have ways that the system works for it and ways that the system kind of works against it. Obviously, it's more designed for the, monster hunting. So there's a lot of focus on supernatural things. But the more mundane kind of setting of the office does help to explore some of the less exciting, in some ways, mechanics that wouldn't really be able to be explored normally because they just wouldn't come up.
It's like in other games where you would have a whole bunch of skill points or dots in like skills that aren't meant for combat, but you're playing a game and people really want to get into the combat. This is a time for those skills to actually shine. It's actually to get to actually see more of the background of the character through what skills they have outside of the usual people would expect.
Yeah. It's essentially like playing an anarch with 4 dots in politics.
Oh god, that hits a little really close to home, actually.
But yeah, so
I haven't played Vampire yet, so I don't get it.
You'll get there. So, how does the person that you are sort of compare to the characters you're playing, and like be very different from the characters you're playing? Is there a lot more of yourself in these people, or?
I'd say when it comes to characters, there's always like a little bit of myself in every single character. But comparing this game to last season with Apotheosis, I would say I'm more like Oliver than I am Alfred. But Alfred is like me in the sense that I think deep down inside me, I am just a old man who likes to do old man things. So I get to bring that out and inflate it. But I also get to just really lean into my very very kind of like crass nature at times that I normally prefer to keep tempered, because I enjoy you know being liked by people instead of just telling them to go fuck themselves all the time effectively. But getting to let loose a little bit with Alfred, who just doesn't give a shit and has beef with just about everyone around him, is fun and entertaining.
Especially Phil from accounting.
Oh yeah,
Dirk.
Phil,
Dirk?
yeah,
That-
Dirk from accounting. Fuck Dirk from accounting. That
Right,
that
Phil's
bastard.
you're right one. My bad.
Well, one thing I will point out about Amy is that if you look closely enough at the art that we have of her, she does have a little trans pride flag. And that was actually one of the big things that drew me to her character in the initial one shot we did. Because, well, I am also trans, so it kind of helped to it helped put some of those life experiences to be able to like put those into play in game because, well, they're very realistically something that my character would have gone through too. In terms of being different, she definitely likes to sugarcoat things a bit less than I do. Because much like with Gary, I also like being liked by people. So I don't usually look people dead in the eyes and explain things when they're trying to make jokes. But that's 110% something that Amy will do, and will probably do many, many times before the season is over.
So, for both of you, again, kind of in your real life, do you ever kind of think in your character's voice or thoughts, and how does that like manifest?
Well, I'll be honest. Especially at my job, we have a lot of technical issues. Work with a lot of very finicky electronics that none of us actually really understand how they work. So I will occasionally find myself being like, okay, but why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? This is not my job. We have somebody for this. Which is very much Amy kind of breaking through. Because normally I'm a pushover and will do things if I ask to. But especially Amy as the systems analyst, when it comes to fixing, things like the copy machine, or things that are either well above or in some cases below her pay grade. Just being like, okay, but why though?
For me, I would say I don't think as Alfred very often because I think there's just a bit too much difference between us. But there are definitely times where, like, as a college student, I'm very much in the mindset of just gotta get through this week. Just gotta make it to Friday. That's all I gotta do. So I'd say that's times where I think our thoughts align a little bit.
Fair enough. Well, now that we have gotten to percolating a little bit with the easier softball questions just for you guys as players, now we're going to get to some of the tougher questions about what happened in this episode and a little bit of what happened in last episode. So first off, I would like to ask, what is Alfred's issue with zombies? Does it have anything to do with him being a medical examiner?
Yeah, actually, it has to do with his backstory, like because he's a pre-generated character, so he already had a backstory in store for us. And his big thing is like the way he came to know about the unknown and everything is that he was a medical examiner. He was a coroner, effectively, and while he was doing his like day job, all the bodies just got up and started attacking him, and he barely survived. So he's got issues with zombies.
Guess that explains why he's always packing too.
Yeah, that's also part of the backstory where it's like the moment he survived, he quickly took up lessons on how to operate a firearm, and he's like never without it, is what the backstory says.
It's always kind of fun to play with pre-generated characters and like spin their own little bits of personality, the little notes of the backstory to fit your own idea of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And for the most part, sometimes like I get very concerned about like running a character who's like as established lore, established backstory, or anything, because like I don't want to mess up the character. I don't want to do it wrong. But in situations like this, where like they're very kind of like I guess like void beings, they don't really have a lot of history to them. It's just kind of like, yeah, here's a character for you to use in case you don't have the time or don't really know how to make your own yet. I think then I can be like, oh yes, I can take this and play around with it and have some fun with it. Because in like the pre-generated character, Alfred's like 50, so he's old but not that old. But I was like, I want to make him like super old. I want to be like in his 60s, so that way he can be like really, really like cranky and just old.
That's awesome. I have a question for Termite. Amy seems a little bit grounded for all the weird stuff that's going on around her. Could you go a bit into like more detail about how she came to be a part of Save?
I certainly can. So she's actually been a part of Save, at least as an organization, for quite a while. But relatively early on in her career, she was dealing with a situation involving what's the specifics? Yeah, so she was driving a car using one of her abilities that she has, but she wasn't able to control it properly, and the resulting accident ended with somebody losing their life. So her approach has become much more, okay, how can we deal with this without having to resort to the thing that killed my partner 6 or so years ago? So she tries to be more, at least tries to be more grounded in some ways. Although her methods can be a bit, well, let's go with erratic.
Fair enough. I have another question for you, Termite. Amy seems like we mentioned before. Amy definitely has the energy of someone who's just not paid enough to deal with all the bullshit around the office. Do they actually enjoy their job, or is it just like this is what they have to do now because they have they know too much and they can't really just let this lie?
The main thing at this point, I think she would like her job a lot more if the office that she worked at used technology. Because that's the main thing that kind of drags her down, is having to do everything by hand and in a very, very inefficient way. Because she knows there are easier ways to get things done and get things done more effectively. But all in all, she does like her job, especially when she gets to go out in the field and actually do things that actually help people instead of, sitting in the office for hours on end doing paperwork that nobody's actually going to read.
Except maybe Karen and the Johns.
I feel like they focus more on whether it was filed than what's actually written there.
In triplicate.
Always in triplicate.
It better be in triplicate.
Well, there's got to be a copy for each of the Johns.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Well, each of the 3 Johns. The 4th John is there, maybe.
But they are in fact a nebulous entity.
They are an entity that exists.
But do they really?
Who knows?
Legally, apparently, yes.
On paper, they certainly do.
Legally, yes, and we work for him.
So, Gary, back to you. For as much shit as we hear Alfred talking about the people in the office, like Dirk from accounting, and just like how, of course, we have heard plenty of comments about the Johns and Karen, he seemed genuinely worried for Phil when Frankie was stealing his shit. Could it be possible that he's actually a big softy under all that eternal tiredness and gruffness?
He just might be. There are definitely certain people that he actually has issues with that he definitely doesn't like. Karen's one of them. His bosses get on his nerves. Fucking hates Dirk, despises them. But his own team, maybe there's a lot more appreciation and likingness. That's not a word there. Than he lets on.
Kind of in that same vein, would you say that Alfred is actually friends with his crew, or would like consider his crew friends, or does he like keep them at arm's length as like work acquaintances? Because at the beginning of this episode, he seemed pretty stern with Frankie.
He would never say it out loud, but he definitely believes his team are very good work friends of his.
Ooh, work friends.
Oh yeah, there's
him,
the
that's
answer.
That's high kudos right there.
I guess so. Yeah, if you're that kind of grumpy, then yeah.
Yeah, take what you can get, I suppose.
There's a whole season to develop.
Yeah, we'll see where it all goes. Here's another question for both of you. Now that you guys know that there are like multiple confirmed threats in the office, how do you guys plan on dealing with them? Like, what kind of plotting is going on behind the scenes?
I actually don't know, and I'm very concerned because at first it was like, okay, we got like two issues here. We got like Karen and the intern. We can handle that. We can learn about them. We can know what makes them tick. We can handle that. But then we got hit with like there's an entire coffee shop full of unknown. I'm like, what are we going to do, man? Oh, geez, that's a lot of problems.
Yeah. I think especially right now, we're focusing on getting as much information as possible. Since, maybe if we have more information, then the paperwork can get filed faster, or we'll have a reason to call corporate. But right now, in terms of plan of action, we have just about nothing.
Yeah. And
we just work here.
We just work here.
Alternatively, there you are prepared with all of the possibilities before you. Not beholden to any one plan.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Once we get more information on knowing what we could do, we have the whole board to work with.
Step 1, remove the coffee.
Step 1, get rid of the coffee.
Step 2, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 3, profit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Step 3, promotion. Step 4, profit.
I was about to say, yeah, we're getting by the end of this. Our goal is to get a meaningless promotion.
Perfect. Now, would this meaningless promotion hopefully come with anything, or is it just a title?
Exactly.
It's barely even a title. They just tack the word senior in front of our existing title.
Yeah,
it's even worse.
A 3% pay raise.
We're senior field agents now.
3%.
Yeah, we'll probably get like 1.5 if we're lucky.
They're actually gonna dock our pay, I think.
Yeah, we get less money for being senior agents.
You got to put more into your 401k at that point in order to keep your title up, right?
I like to imagine Alfred's 401k has been like ready and done for like a decade now.
Being a senior agent is actually just like being in a union. You have to pay dues to keep your title.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Good thing they don't work for Starbucks.
Oh.
So I have a question that is a bit of a hangover from last episode, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. How did you feel learning that Leroy is just weird? Not actually a monster of any kind, just a weirdo.
I loved it. Because for me, it was like, even going into it, I was like, this guy's probably not a zombie or a monster or anything like that. He probably is just like a weird dude. But Alfred is fully convinced. There's no doubt in his mind that this guy is a zombie, and he's going to lose this bet. And I fully anticipate him to. I fully want him to. But I'm just sitting there, be like behind the facade of my character, being like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, the reveal of not only the reveal of Leroy being totally normal, but the kind of offhanded reveal of, oh yeah, Karen's also unknown, but we'll talk about that later. I think was very fun. And it definitely helps kind of give away the fact that just because we've got, unknown wandering around our office doesn't mean that they're necessarily the things we gotta watch out for. And two, doesn't mean that they're gonna be the weirdest things we run into. Because people can be just as weird as any monster you run into.
Mm-hmm.
The phrase "stranger than fiction" comes to mind here.
Oh yeah, that's just blaring like a Kill Bill siren.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we have come to one of my personal favorite parts of the show, the Spilling the Tea segment. This section is a bit more freeform with questions tailored towards what the fuck moments of the episode, controversies, rumors, hints of love interests, even. In this section, we invite you to ask each other any pressing hard questions you might have, or even ask us as the interviewers any questions that you might have for us. But we're going to start off with an honest question from Scott during the first episode that we saw in the chat. With all of the chaos that you all were planning in episode 1, does it really seem like you're the protagonists when you're automatically thinking about murdering your coworkers?
Yeah.
I think, one, protagonists, yes. Doesn't mean we're the good guys.
Yeah. Even still, I think, yeah, because, like, who hasn't considered murdering their coworker? It's just most of the time those thoughts stay in your head. With us, it's like, yeah, no, we should definitely do it because they're a monster.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is unknown are kind of inherently evil and seek the destruction of, well, just about everything. So,
yeah, I think
I think we're morally in the right.
Yeah,
as long as we don't
we're
start
careful enough. Because
long as we
it
don't-
would be. Sorry, it would be different if like the moment Alfred started suspecting Leroy, is like, all right, we're killing Leroy before like getting any confirmation. But the fact that we were like waiting to see is like, okay, is the intern an unknown? Yes, confirmed 100%. Okay, cool. How are we going to get rid of them now?
Yeah. And as long as we don't start going around threatening to murder, I don't know, Dirk from accounting, I think morally we are in the right.
But how sure are you that Dirk from accounting isn't an unknown?
Alfred's not sure. Right now, he's like, yeah, that guy's just an asshole. But like, if he starts showing any signs, Alfred might get like real trigger happy.
At this point, just about anybody in that office could be an unknown, and I would not be surprised.
But do you want certain NPCs to be unknowns? That's the question.
I really hope only one of 3 Johns is unknown. Like, the other 2 are just regular ass people. But one of them's got something going on.
Yeah. I don't know about ones I would want to be unknowns, but there's definitely plenty I don't want to be unknowns because I think it's just either funnier or I really don't want them to be. Like fourth John, like the mysterious John. I think it's way funnier if he's just like a guy who stays in his office all day. But in like another case, like I think we've already like confirmed that he's not, or at least doesn't register as one. But Becker, I really don't want him to be an unknown because like at this point he's part of the team in my eyes. Like yeah, he's always there for us. He's always got the information. He's always got like the hookups. He's got everything for us. He's always there. I trust him implicitly. Yeah, he's almost too good to be true, but I trust him implicitly. And if he turns out to be on the other team, I'm gonna cry.
Out of character.
Oh.
Alfred would never cry.
Alfred would never cry, no.
Maybe internally.
No, Alfred has like the Ron Swanson mentality on crying, where you're only allowed to do it at funerals and the Grand Canyon. Those are the only times it's allowed.
That's fair. What are y'all's feelings about the chill game system? There are no wrong answers. I'd just be interested to see if there's like any kind of change in your opinion near the end of the season after you've had more like experience with it.
I think as a whole, it's a decent system. I think there are just a few too many things that are kind of split up into too small of pieces, and especially make character progression very difficult. Just with the way that skills work. Because on the base, it's super simple. Each statistic that you have has a skill that goes along with it. But then those skills break down into 5 or 6 different specializations each, which each have their own, level, progression track, stuff like that. And I think that kind of complicates things a little bit too much.
Weirdly, that's what I like about it. I like how it like kind of like tiers downwards and kind of like umbrellas out. I think that's interesting. For me, I enjoy the system. I enjoy how it's simple with the percentile die, and you do it based on your percentages with the skill. However, I don't fully get the whole dark side, light side token thing yet. I'm still a little confused on it, but that's just a matter of me needing to dig into the rule book and get a better understanding.
Man, Gary and I apparently just have very different
It's just inverted
opinions and views. Because I really like the way that the dark side, light side tokens work.
I don't have anything against it. I don't have anything against like the way it works. It's just I don't know how they work yet.
Yeah, that's fair. But I just really like because it really encourages like a back and forth, but also comes with a very obvious thing of if you do too much, then there's gonna be more shit that gets thrown at you.
Yeah, I do like that aspect. I do like kind of like that tug of war kind of thing going on between like the players and the chill master.
Fair enough. So here is the question from Tanya to Gary.
Oh.
With all of the bets that Alfred makes and loses, especially to Frankie, is that just because he's incredibly unlucky and just keeps betting on the wrong horse, or does he sort of expect to lose and it's just sort of like a game they play as friends?
I think it's a good bit of both. I think Alfred is just generally unlucky when it comes to betting and gambling and things of that nature. But it's also a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point where it's like it's happened so many times to him that he kind of expects to lose, but at the same time is thinking to himself, hey, maybe today's the day that I finally win one.
And what do you think will happen when he finally wins one?
I don't think he knows what he's going to do if he finally wins one because, like I said, he kind of expects to lose all the time.
It's going to go to Disneyland.
Now, the real question, if he loses the bet, is he still going to somehow end up doing Frankie's paperwork?
Probably. That's kind of what happened with the one shot a little bit, where it's like it was more of a draw than anything, but he was still like, fine, I'll do your fucking paperwork.
Just used to the extra workload at this point.
Yeah, at this point, he's just, to him, it's normal. He's a boomer, so it's like, yeah, this technology crap, who needs it?
So also we know that the intern and Karen are real threats, but what about? Oh, we did talk about this a little bit earlier. What about Becker? Family's that big, and
threats?
Yeah, having someone for every situation, especially trying to get them to a secret base, is that really normal?
We know how Gary feels. Termite, what do you think?
Billy has my trust until he proves otherwise. That's all I'm saying.
Amy is the exact opposite. She thinks that he's a little too curious about what they're doing. And she thinks that the group is a little too open with what they're doing open about talking to Becker about what they're doing. And while she knows that he's not unknown, or at least doesn't ping as unknown, she's got a lot of concerns, especially given the fact that, one, she doesn't know what he actually wants, aside from he wants to know things, which is odd. But having a family member for just about anything, ranging from, pizza delivery to plumbing to cleaning services,
quote unquote,
either he's a threat or his family is a mafia. And it's an even 50-50.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but what's the best and what's the worst in this situation?
The best is that he's our great dear friend and is a valuable ally to us, who we should have never doubted.
Note how that wasn't one of the options I listed.
Well, it's one of my options.
I think bare minimum he's using us to get information. And I think that being all he's doing to just gather information himself is the best option. But the off chance that he is working with the unknown, even as just a regular guy, I think that's probably the worst.
Fair enough. Well, I would like to open the floor to the two of you to feel free to ask each other any questions you may have for one another or for us. Also, next week we are going to be having someone new come along. We're going to be having Becker himself come onto the episode. Do you got any questions for him?
You wouldn't betray us, right, Alreg? Surely not. You wouldn't do that. That's my question.
You wouldn't do that.
Nah.
Now, Gary, how does Alfred feel about Frankie specifically?
Ooh.
I think there's a lot of grumpy bluster there, where it's like, yes, you're a constant annoyance, but if that constant annoyance wasn't there one day, he would be very upset isn't quite the right word, but he would definitely miss it more than he would like to admit.
Aw.
Which, along those lines, though, I'm gonna shoot right back at you here. I think it's very clear with like the different kind of like dynamic webs we have going on, like who is really close to who and how different people react. How do you feel like about Amy? Like, who do you think is like Amy's closest friend within the group?
Within the group, honestly, she probably gets along the best with Kayla. Just in general, I feel like they kind of have similar feelings on things. But then there are, situations where she's very much in agreement with Alfred, especially when it comes to Frankie stealing things. That could very well end in somebody having something very wrong happen with them, like Phil losing his job.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally don't really think that she's closest with any one member. She kind of tries her best to get along with everybody.
I feel that. I get that impression while we play.
She doesn't like Alfred and his absolute distaste for technology, though.
He's just old. He's too old.
Because, man, let me tell you, he's the reason that things are so difficult for them.
What a boomer.
Right?
Literally. Where it's like, okay, so Alfred, here's how you use the internet. And it's like, no, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? But, new question. I'm going to turn it to our host here.
Oh boy.
Do you guys have any particular favorite moments or characters throughout the entire scope of the game so far? Be that one of us or like the NPCs or SPCs?
Ooh.
And again, like anything that's happened so far, they're like, that was a great moment. Because I've had a good few.
For me, it's the different like office themes that have been like poking up through each game, like Flip Flop Friday, the fanny packs this time, Karen and her high heeled flip flops, like all of that has been just a funny little detail just to add into the backdrop of the game.
I almost forgot about Karen and her flip flop heels, and then you reminded me of that, and now I have this waking nightmare again.
The devil does not wear Prada. She wears flip flop heels.
No.
That was the title of one of the clips, actually.
They're probably the ones from like the Croc store too, back in the day when they had all those weird like flip floppy Croc thingies.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite, well, on top of that, I actually have two moments to come to mind, and that was when Karen said that the pizza party was mandatory because it's for morale, and just the idea innately of hashtag morale is mandatory.
Morale is mandatory.
Yeah, you have to feel good about yourselves. You were not allowing you to not feel good, even though it does the exact opposite of that.
Why are you not having a good time? I specifically requested it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably going to draw this connection a lot. But if any of you have ever heard of the podcast Welcome to Night Vale?
I tried getting into it, but I didn't get very far after the first couple episodes. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but I just fell off.
No, I feel that. There is... At some point, there are some characters that come up, and their whole thing is morale is mandatory. And it's terrifying.
I might need to get back into it.
Yeah. Now I actually have had to check that out because that being terrifying sounds like it's right up my alley. The other moment that I just knew that this was going to be a really, really good show was the moment where the moment of Alfred losing the first bet to then bleeding into him checking his watch. Because just that intense reaction of seeing that it's 11:30 and not anywhere close to quitting time, and just that visceral reaction to it was just perfect for me.
I also think that was like the perfect way to end that episode, of Alfred looking down at his watch, panning to camera, just a fuck.
Oh
yeah, damn it!
What time
Fade to black.
Roll credits.
6 hours of the workday left. It's like, God damn it.
Oh, also in the first episode, once everyone realized that Leroy was just a weird guy, it was that moment of, we've been chasing this person down all day for no reason.
We know Karen's something, and we just decided to focus on this poor schmuck.
Yeah, this weird guy who lives in the sewers.
Karen was a monster. We didn't need to sense the unknown to figure that one out. We'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, that's
that
the
was
thing.
This guy, though, he's an immediate threat.
Yeah,
Clearly.
that's the thing. I'm pretty sure Karen has firing power.
Yeah, she's head of HR, so... Actually, that brings me to wondering, what do you guys think Karen is?
I don't know what
Like,
she is, but I think she's going to be like our biggest threat just because of the amount of power she holds over our jobs.
Yeah, not even a supernatural threat. Just her being head of HR is enough.
Oh, look, someone who upset me slightly. There's 3 anonymous complaints that have been submitted about you. One more, and you're going to be put on probation.
unfortunate. Sorry, can't do
Very.
anything about it.
Oopsie.
Yeah, I don't make the rules. I just have to enforce them, you know.
As soon you go ahead.
It's a shame that the office's discipline system is so long and convoluted that by the time anything actually gets to the point where it should be done, everything else has fallen off. But it seems like Karen has decided to ignore that little rule for the time being.
Yeah, good luck appealing anything.
As soon as Karen came onto the scene, like, I just immediately got vibes. If anyone has seen the TV show of What We Do in the Shadows.
Another one I've heard of but have not watched.
Yeah, I've never actually watched it.
Okay, that might actually
That's a
better.
Watiti one, isn't it?
Rest. Do what?
Yeah, that's a Watiti one. Taika Waititi does that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
There's a certain character in that show that gives me the same vibes as Karen, so I'm just like, I wonder.
To actually answer your question, I'm pretty sure she's a demon of some kind.
Makes
kind
more
of
sense.
Demon.
Tormenting demon.
Some kind of middle management demon. Because hell obviously runs like this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's in her element.
Hell is a bureaucracy, canon.
Yep. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks.
I can't wait for Hell's cleanup crew to just bust down our doors now. Now that we've announced that.
Yeah, no, we've blown their cover.
Hey, I hear somebody knocking on my door. I'll be right back.
Oh no! Wait.
All right. Well, I think, unless there are any other questions from our lovely players, that is a good place for us to wrap it on up.
One more question.
Have some other tea to spill as well.
One more question for Alreg. What is Becker's last name?
Ooh. It's got to be something like aggressively Italian because he's definitely part of a mafia.
It might just be Becker.
Becker?
Yeah, maybe Becker is, like Mario.
Yeah, like Mario.
Mario.
Oh, God, that movie's so awful. Anyway. All right. Well, now that we've got a few questions from our players, and we've got plenty of good tea spilled, and plenty of good ideas rolling around, we'll go ahead and call it there. Thank you all for listening. These episodes are dropped Thursdays at noon for the $5 tier. They're released to the public about a 1 month later. Think about subscribing so you can stay up to date with your talk news for Hallowed Haven Studios. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.